Hi, this is Val Hart, the Real Dr. Doolittle. Welcome to the Real Dr. Doolittle Show. I'm here with my... that always sort of... The Hangout says we're live, and then a few seconds, and I start talking, a few seconds later, it finally blinks on live. Oh, all right, well, I'm going to start over. I'm Val Hart, the Real Dr. Doolittle. This is the Real Dr. Doolittle Show, and this is my fabulous guest, Susan Francis. So we're going to talk about predatory pests. That's hard to say 3 times fast. Predatory pests, skeeters, tickers, ticks, and fleas. Oh my. So we want to talk about the energies that feed them, the poisons that we're using to try to protect our pets, and how dangerous those are. We'll get into that a little bit and give you some solutions, some ideas. We're also going to talk about something very interesting that not many people are aware of, but it's the psychic attack that can come in, the energetics behind that. So, all right, let's get into the show. So, this was all inspired by my mission, and I hope you align with me. Animals are angels, teachers, guides, and healers. When we recognize them as the brilliant and masterful beings that they truly are, then they help us become better people. They come into our life for a reason, and they're here to help you become the best person that you can possibly be, because God knows our planet needs us to be the best we can be right now, always. So, thank you for your pets, thank you for your love, thank you for your interest, and let's go on. So, all right, we're going to bring you into our world, our work and our passion, being the voice and the bridge between your animals and you to them. So let's talk about Susan. Susan's such a dear friend. I feel like I've got a kindred soul in her. She's been on the show a few times before. It's always fun and very entertaining. She's got a fabulous sense of humor and is incredibly good at what she does. So she describes herself as a bit of a Sherlock Holmes because she helps solve animal mysteries that are baffling their owners and their vets and their trainers. While she uses telepathic communication, she's also a medium, she is clairsentient, and she is a top reader on an international psychic line for both people and animals, and she's even appeared on PBS. What makes Susan even more unique is her background in Chinese medicine and her ability to intuit blocks and imbalances in meridians and organ systems, and even in home environments, as well as her use of acupressure, all of which she learned from a Buddhist Taoist master. So today we're talking protect your pet from predatory pests, as well as the poisons that treat them and the psychic energies that feed them. So Susan, welcome to the show. So glad to have you back.
Thank you so much.
All right, so everyone, Susan and I have been talking for a while now. She's having some technical difficulties on her end, so Hangouts has not been very helpful today. Let me tell you a little bit more while we wait for her to come back. Fleas, ticks, and skeeters are a serious threat to your pet's health and happiness. Unfortunately, so are the preventive products that we use typically, as well as the psychic attacks that may also be afoot in persistent infestations. So we're going to talk about who are the pests, where are these nasty little pests, when do they occur, so what are the things that need to happen to be in place to allow an infestation, and why might pest infestations be a sign of a psychic attack as well. So, and she's still not back, but she will be in a minute. So in the meantime, I'll do a little song and dance for you. La 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 la. All right, so ticks and fleas. Oh, there she is. Oh, yay. Hi, Susan.
So sorry, everybody. I'm personally believing it's a flea and tick invasion of our connection because they don't want this information out.
We have a gremlin invasion on the line.
Absolutely. You know what I'm going to say to everybody quickly, just in case we have more trouble. Please go to my website. I'm actually not even trying. If you sign up and get on my list, I will email you the article of all of this. And in fact, while you're listening, today is a day you might want to take some notes. Usually I work more with inspiration and we do some meditation, but Today has those actual fact-like things, which I so dislike, but are helpful. And if you go to my website and you sign up for the list, I will send you the info. Val also has some things to fill you in on that I've given her if we get disconnected. But hopefully we're good to go. And I'm going to start with a nutshell, again, in case we did get disconnected. Here is the point. Fleas and ticks are bad. They're really, really, really bad. They have superpowers. And it is a good thing that the pharmaceutical and the chemical industry have developed some products to help us fight them. I don't want to demonize them. Some of them are necessary. The problem is we are using them as a first resort, and you can end up poisoning your pet when you're trying to protect them from other problems. And we want to avoid that. And then there's this whole other component of what's going on if we are attracting to us these things that suck our blood and gnaw on us. What is that symbolic of? And we'll get there. I don't want to overemphasize that because, as Freud would say, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Everybody gets flea and tick invasions. When they're persistent, when they're problematic, when they're unusual, we might want to check on what's going energetically. So we'll get there. So on to these fact things. Everybody take a deep breath. I don't want to bore you, yawn, everything. The first thing to know about fleas and ticks, why they are difficult. Fleas carry many diseases. I'm not going to bother go into all of them. And your pets chew at them. They may eat them. They develop parasites, bacteria, other very serious problems. There's a number of different types of fleas. The most common ones we get are actually cat fleas, but they're happy to gnaw on your dog. They're happy to gnaw on you. They do not usually live on us. They live on furry beings, but they're happy to bite us, usually around our feet, our ankles. If you're having unusual spots that keep itching, often longer than mosquito bites, if you haven't already noticed, there may be a flea invasion in the house. On the pets, fleas breed like rabbits. They lay eggs in the fur. They reproduce very quickly. And ticks, not quite as fast, but they also are very creative in this way. Ticks, as we know more popularly, carry two very difficult diseases, but they carry others too. Lyme's, which everybody knows, also Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Both of those humans and animals can get. Interestingly, we're more scared of Lyme's, and I've had clients with Lyme's. I don't know if you have, Val, human clients, and it's one of the most painful and difficult diseases I've ever run into.
I got Lyme myself in 1980.
I did too.
So almost died from it. It's been a very painful and difficult journey. Yeah.
It is. Interestingly, it is usually not always not that bad in dogs. Most people don't know that. A few get it very badly, but it's more minor. On the other hand, Rocky Mountain spotted fever is very, very bad in dogs. Can be bad in humans, but not so much. They're inverted. But the point is, both of them are really very dangerous. I had disconnected that. And fortunately, there are a whole variety of safe things that we can do to be able to protect ourselves. Both of them, this is just so fascinating to me, they really are little bitty cute vampires. Well, they're really not very cute, but they do live on blood. They are just looking for creatures to suck their blood. Ticks especially have really wonderful sensors. And what's fascinating to me is they hang on the edge of grasses like this. By their very toes, they hang just waiting for somebody to come by that they can latch onto. Both fleas and ticks to me have superpowers. I went to see the Avengers this weekend, and a preview was Ant-Man, which is also a Marvel hero. And I thought he's got nothing on fleas and ticks. They really are quite extraordinary. Fleas, if you've ever noticed, when you try to catch them, they're so hard. They jump instantaneously. They can jump 7 feet if that.
Wow, 7 feet. Can you imagine this tiny little creature, like the head of the pin, that can jump 7 feet? That's so extraordinary.
Yes. Yeah. And as most of us know, incredibly hard superpower shell, almost impossible to squish. Yeah. Ticks also very hard shell. They can't jump as far, but they can chase you. They're stalkers. If they smell you come past and they miss you, they follow you for yards. Yes. And the dangerous ones, especially with Lyme's, are the teeny tiny ticks, still in very young form. So again, this is why we want to protect and also check after we go out to forest preserves, even in the yard, but especially in forest preserves, parks, or areas where you're especially likely to get ticks. They both, again, I'm not used to this fact stuff, folks, sorry. Fleas, where they hang out. Fleas like it wet and hot. They do not like dry weather. So for those of you in drier climates, that's good news. When your dog or your cat hangs out in your yard, it is good to try to keep them off of really damp places, under bushes, under porches, damper areas. They're more likely to be flea-filled. Ticks, on the other hand, like it hot and dry. So if you have a place where you put dry leaves, twigs, again, not a place you want your animal hanging out. It's hard to make a happy medium, of course, but if you have a fenced area that is sunny and kind of moist grass, it's sort of ideal. But again, we want to focus on prevention things because these days it's very hard to find places that are completely infestation free. And it is also hard to find a time of year where they're not there. I've had clients get ticks in December. I saw the first one in March. That didn't just used to happen. Not only is our weather changing, but my theory is that there are more and more resistant strains to more and more factors. Just as our antibiotics have become resistant to certain forms of bacteria, we've created big problems by using them too much. I think fleas and ticks have become resistant to many of the things that we're using to certain conditions. So, unfortunately, you have to protect more often. So I'm trying to think of how to summarize this better. You pretty much have to be careful wherever you're out, but especially if you and your ticks are hiking. And I hope everybody knows this by now, even if it's really warm. When you go hiking with your dog, I hope you wear taller socks, lace-up shoes, and jeans, or even pants that you can tie at the bottom like sweatpants, so they don't creep up your legs. Again, we really want to be serious about especially ticks. The fleas generally don't get to us until the home, but fleas can live happily and merrily and have a party in your carpet all year long. Also your bedding, your animals' bedding. So what we're going to talk about now is the really safe stuff. So first of all, I am so in favor of mulching your lawn. I'm in favor of mulching everything. But if you have any suspicion of fleas in your yard, please bag your grass. I know somebody, the owner of the pet store where I work, who had tried all sorts of things, had an infestation she couldn't get rid of. All they did was bag their grass and it was gone. Again, it's an ideal condition for them to live in.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Have you done anything with nematodes, the beneficial nematodes?
No, Val, do you know more about that? Please fill people in.
Yeah, in our area, I mean, you're in Chicago, which
yes.
is cold, quite cold.
Yes.
And I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and it gets very warm. It's perfect conditions for all manner of creatures. But there's something called beneficial nematodes, Nematodes. We get it at our garden supply places. They come in little sponges. They are tiny little organisms that eat eggs and fleas and those sorts of creatures. They thrive on eating them. So it's like little Pac-Men, little Pac-Men and Pac-Women and Pac-Babies, I guess, out there. Go in and you spray them. You put them in a water solution, spray them, and literally within hours, the infestation will be neutralized. And then when they've run out of stuff to eat, then their lifespan completes. So that's a very natural thing you can do. It's like getting ladybugs for your garden. It's one of those natural predator kind of things.
Excellent. As many times as we've done this talk, I'm amazed I don't know that. So I'm so glad you brought it up. And my suspicion is people can probably Google it and find it.
Yes, I would hope so. Mm-hmm.
I'm virtually certain. And I will also say, I'm going to get to products later, but there is another product called Mosquito Barrier that is another natural product that you attract to your hose and spray that would also help us with heartworm prevention with mosquitoes, but also goes for fleas and ticks. So fortunately, for those who spend a lot of time in their yard, yes, there is this solution. But easy and free, bag your grass.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, good.
Second of all, we have all gotten all of these solutions that I'm going to give are, they can be a little more time consuming. You may have to do several of them to be effective. But like so many problems on the planet, we have gotten used to quicker and easier solutions that lead to longer and more difficult problems in the long run. And that's what's true of the more toxic applications. And in fact, I'm going to pause a moment and talk about the problem with those. I think today almost everybody is used to leaving the vet with Frontline or Advantage or a similar product. And again, I'm not going to rule them out, especially depending on what's going on with your pet. But there's several problems. There's the internal products which pests can ingest and make them more likely. And at times those can be helpful. Those products should not be taken by any animal that has seizures, that may have liver or kidney problems. And if you get them from your vet, which you usually do, they will usually run blood work. But things don't always show up, or they may show up later. And they can also eventually cause problem in the liver or kidneys. So again, given circumstances, if they're severe, they may be helpful, but they're not the first choice. Similarly with Frontline and Advantage, and one of the biggest points I want to make today is most people do not know this. There is an ingredient called fipronil in Frontline, similar in others, that is so toxic. If you look at your packaging, you cannot throw away your little container of Frontline. It is so toxic that we do not want it in our landfills to get in our water or our groundwater. But you can put it on your pet. And if you get it on you, you're supposed to wash carefully, but it can get on your pet's skin. And those of you in the house petting your pet, and if you have small children in the house who pet it and put their fingers in their mouth, we have gotten so used to toxins, and we are sort of brainwashed into the need for toxins. So to me, those applications are generally a last option, or at least further down the list after you've tried others. And I know people will groan because the things I'm going to say take a little more time, but interestingly, they're also helpful bonding type things that create other positive benefits. And everything that we do to slow down in our information overload, fast-paced culture is generally a good thing, as much as we resist it. So when you take your pet out, there are a number of really good and non-toxic sprays. Just used to spraying. It's automatic, like brushing your teeth before you go out, especially their underbellies, especially around the neck, paws, legs. I'm actually going to mention Sentry, who has a whole line, and I don't get any kickbacks from anybody. That isn't what this is about. I'm trying to help you all have specific ideas. They have a whole line called Natural Defense. They have sprays, they have topical applications, they have collars. I think Sentry is burning their collar because some folks may know years ago, they had flea collars that were killing animals. They have this all very natural line now. There's a number of local people who have good sprays. There's another one called Forget About It. There's a number of them. They're all very good. I work in a massage spa where the woman makes her own with essential oils that I find fantastic. So there's many you can find. One caveat, be very careful with your cats. Almost no cats can handle essential oils. Even things like tea tree are toxic for cats. So make certain it is a product approved for cats, and if somebody make it locally, make sure they know that. But just get used to spraying. That alone can make a difference. When you get back, you want to have a simple little thing called a flea comb, and I wish I'd grabbed mine to hold it up. Very narrow teeth. Everybody thinks I don't have the time, but it really doesn't take long. You want to really comb through because everything is easier to stop before it starts. You can get the fleas easily. You can find the ticks this way. The caveat with this is have some Kleenex, a plastic bag, a closed container immediately, because those ticks, you can get them on the comb and grab them. And it gets to be fun. This is sort of like a video game. It actually does get to be very fun, believe it or not. Especially if there's flea dirt on your pet, which is the poop of fleas. It's small black flecks. I bet people have seen them. It's really amazingly large compared to the flea. It's kind of like as if our poop were half the size of our body. And you also, I know.
That's a visual I don't want in my head. Wow.
You want to get it off your pet. It's irritating. Imagine as if you had it all over your body. It's acidic. You want to get it off of them. You can get all of that off with the flea combs, and you don't have to do a really huge job. But grab the Kleenex, put it in a container because you want to run over and flush this stuff down the toilet right away. even the ticks if you get them off. And there's a better product called a tick key. Looks like it has a little keyhole in it. I think this is the greatest gift to humankind ever. Because you do not want to remove ticks with your fingers. First of all, there's the EU factor. It is just way too gross. But second of all, you can get some of these diseases from touching them, especially Rocky Mountain. The tick key looks like a little, you slide it over it and it easily and gracefully pulls it right out of the animal. You want to grab it immediately. You think ticks move slower, but if they're not really bloated, they can run away fast and you can't find them in your carpet. So grab them, get to the toilet. This may be a back and forth thing. You also can do more spraying when you get home. There's a few other products that I love. There is something that is called shoe tags, SHOO. These are homeopathic products. It's a little tag that you put on their collar. It's plastic. It's got a bar scan code that looks almost like a scan thing at the store. But it's vibrational and it makes your pet invisible to fleas and ticks. I've used them frequently. I've used them in difficult situations. Any of these options I say use in combination with something else, but they're wonderful. They also make them for us. They make them for humans as well. And they last several months. There are topical applications that are like Frontline, but they are non-toxic. They're totally natural. You put them between the shoulder blade. They cover the whole body. Again, Sentry makes one of those. You have to use them a little more often than you would Frontline, especially if it rains or they go swimming, but they're totally non-toxic and they work. If you put all of these things together, they work. If you notice an infestation in your house, simple solution that many people don't use, vacuum. Vacuum like crazy. Take the bag out, don't reuse it. Take it out every time after you vacuum, or if you've got a Dyson or something, go out and empty it. Wash the bedding, the dog's bedding, your sheets, spray on couches with the non-toxic stuff. It takes some time, but it's great. You can even spray in advance the non-toxic things before you have a infestation.
I like that. Yeah,
yes.
A couple more things. Diatomaceous earth.
Yes, I was just going to get there. Yes, wonderful.
And one thing I did years ago, I had my cat had kittens. We had kittens everywhere, and we got a terrible flea infestation. You couldn't walk without them jumping. I mean, you could see clouds. It's like a flea circus in my house. And what we did is sprinkle salt. We sprinkled salt everywhere in the carpet and bedding and furniture and stuff. And salt actually dries out the eggs. You know, we were talking about how hard a shell the creatures have. They do, but when they're exposed to salt, it dries them out. It's like it dehydrates them and they die. So we did that for a day and then vacuumed everything up, and the flea thing was gone. It made a huge difference. So very simple and completely non-toxic. So
yes, it's funny because salt also has the energetic clearing aspect. I was going to talk about it in that part, but you're right, it's excellent. Diatomaceous earth is actually made from ground up fossils, and it literally kind of slices them. People even take it internally. It's a very good product. Here's the one issue with it. If you sprinkle it around, it is actually can be very bad for the respiratory system.
Right, don't breathe it. Don't breathe it.
You want a mask, and you don't want your animals in the room when you sprinkle it, but work it into the carpet. It's great. Baking soda, same thing. Often there is a solution that you make up with salt, diatomaceous earth, and baking soda, and just sprinkle it around, put it on your couches. It gets invisible. You don't notice it, but as you said, very effective. And you can try one, and if it doesn't work, add others. If you're looking at an infestation, you want to bring out the big guns right away. You don't want it to get worse. But all of those things will work really, really well. Keep up the sprays, keep up the flea combing. It's a battle. You do have to keep it up through the season. But if you get out ahead of it, you may never even get to that point. If you have a really difficult infestation, I've had friends who are very knowledgeable but have a number of pets in their home, like you were mentioning with the kittens, and just couldn't get on top of it. You can use the topical applications. Be aware you don't have to keep using them. And you do not have to definitely flea bomb as well, which is usually what you're told, because often those poisons will get on their bedding and on your couch and on your bed, and it will kill them there as well. We don't have to feel like we have to do everything all at once, especially if you're supplementing with the natural stuff, like you just gave a great example.
So glad you're bringing all this out. This is stuff people need to know. Oh my God. I'm remembering a client, her kitten was scratching and took her to the vet and said, well, I think it's fleas. I don't see any fleas. There's no flea dirt, but it's got to be fleas. So you have to wash everything and do a balm. And it was horrible. It made no difference in, the itchy. But it was just like, what a waste and exposure to all that toxic nastiness in your house. And please don't do that.
Right. I will say years ago in my 20s, before I knew all of this, I had a bad infestation. I bombed outdoors near my beloved dog's doghouse that she loved. I almost killed my dog.
Ugh.
She kept shaking like a lift. She was in the vet with an IV drip for days. It is massively toxic stuff. You have to cover all of your foods or get them out. It's serious business. And again, if nothing else is working, and that does happen at times, I'm not saying you can't do this stuff, but get yourself out of there, get your pets out of there, make sure everything is protected, food, water, everything. It is not minor business. And here's the problem with a lot of them. They still don't always work. Frontline and Advantage do not always work. And you can get, the ones you get at the vet tend to be a higher level. You can pick them up at Walmart and other places. If you're going to use a product that's a poison, make sure it's going to work if you're going to go through that.
Yeah.
And really try the other things first.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so many good options. So now we'll talk about the energetic component. And this is Val and I were chatting one day, and this is actually why she decided to have me on the show, was this story. Several years ago, I had an ex-boyfriend who could not let me go. Hadn't talked to him in months, but being the empath that I am, and most of the people listening on the show are pretty empathic people. I could feel it, and he was long distance, sucking my blood, sucking my energy. I did a number of things, but it was very, very difficult. That spring, whenever I would walk my boy Sammy, I would get massive tick infestations like I've never had in my life.
Wow.
I could not believe it. Now, it was a bad year for ticks. It was happening all around. So again, sometimes a cigar is a cigar. But it went on. It went on after other people's were getting better. I was doing everything I couldn't to see he was still getting them. I remember taking him home from a walk one day, going over him, putting stuff on, took him to the store where I have my office, and the clerk behind the counter checked him, and there were three more ticks on him. I couldn't believe it. So I started looking at what's really going on here. And I realized my boundaries were weakened. My dog, who is tapped into us, as all of our animals are, was both also weakened, but also reflecting to me the nature of what was going on here. Yeah. And this man, it was very sweet, and I was clear and boundaried with, but I felt kind of bad for him. And I didn't want to bring out the big guns, and that opened some of it. And he had set his heart on me and decided I was it, and was furious that I was not going along with the plan. And a year later, I spoke to him around the holidays, and he admitted the whole thing. So in case you're thinking I'm being overreactive, I mean, I was kind of astounded how much he admitted it. So for us empathic types, remember, we are always picking up energies. Our pets are picking up from us and mirroring back to us what's going on. And in these times when there is so much happening on the planet, and we are out of balance, and our planet and our local ecosystems are out of balance, the more we can do to work on our inner harmony and continue to help with the planet harmony, it helps with all of this sort of thing. Sammy also got a flea infestation that summer. Sammy was like 9 years old, and he'd never had fleas, not once.
Wow.
And I had a hard time getting rid of them. It took ongoing work. And the thing with this man was a very big battle. Sometimes both Val and I work with people around this. That taught me a whole nother level of the whole thing. And I'm in the process of learning another level now, as Val knows. But there are also simple things that you can do for that, some of which will work and some of which you'll know more. But good old saging your home, good old reminding yourself just to pray for protection and protection for your animals. There are essential oils that can be extremely helpful, salt lamps and salt. These days, I am getting more of a result with salt than I am with sage. I think it has something to do with the dryness. And even putting salt in a mister and misting all around your home with salt.
Oh, that's interesting. So misting with salt around your home. I like that idea. Interesting.
So combine it with an essential oil. You can combine it with liquid sage, lemon, other pine, other clearing elements. Very helpful.
Okay, good, good. So misting with salt and essential oils like sage and thyme. Yeah.
Salt caves are very popular now. They're becoming spas, like massage spas. You can get Himalayan salt lamps in your home that help clarify the energy. There are even home products that look like a humidifier, but you can put salt in. Don't put salt in your humidifier, you'll destroy it. But there are specific ones that you can get that will create. Most of us these days need extra protection and just ongoing clearing. It has to become like brushing our teeth, using our beloved facial products. It is not such a pain when we get used to it, and it can help so much. If you've got a more complex problem, both Val and I work on that. One of my specialty is to tune into products. I might be able to tune in what might help your pet most. And another issue with all of this is, please remember, I bet all of you are more attractive to mosquitoes than someone else, or my sister. Mosquitoes will pick her up and carry her off to their lair. They don't like me that much. We all have different levels of attractivity. Some of it is genetic, but some of it is our own pH balance, how acidic we are. Heat attracts, inflammation attracts. So working with the overall immune system of your pet, make sure they're on very high quality foods. Try to do grain-free. Another of my specialties, and I'm honestly not trying to promote myself, but tuning into what sorts of meats your animal needs and how much veggie supplementation really affects this. Both at Val and I work on this. These are really important things to pay attention to for how susceptible they are to everything, including energetic, and for us as well.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up, because one of the things I've known, taught years ago, if an animal is attracting, or a person is attracting fleas or ticks or skeeters or something like that, mosquitoes, it's because there's an imbalance. Typically, there's an imbalance within. It could be energetic, but it could also be an indication of a toxic system. Maybe lymphatics aren't working well. There's an overload. There's something health-wise going on, body, mind, or spirit, that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, the creatures are not attracted to that being. Their job, and honestly, I don't want to demonize them. They are living creatures, and we are in kinship with all life. They have a job. They have a role. Their role is to help take down diseased creatures, and in effect, that's kind of what they do. So let's be as healthy as we possibly can. I think that's another big point I want to make. Does that make sense, Susan?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the issue. And these days, just because even though we're eating as best we can and we're trying to give the best stuff to our animals, everything is kind of degraded in a lower vibrational level unless you're really getting it local and organic and in other ways protected. So I would add, even if it's in your foods, enzymes and probiotics in your animal foods are really helpful. Coconut oil or essential oil. They're wonderful new products that are actually ancient. Like, one of the most healing things we're using at the store is raw goat milk that is not pasteurized. It is chock full of enzymes, probiotics, other things. It's one of the most healing things that we're finding with animals. Again, just like if we can beat them before they get on us, if we can keep the immune system up, we won't attract it. And I will say, and I know this is a leap, it's a flea level leap, everything that we do to work and contribute towards our planet, whether it's prayers, whether it's donations to environmental organizations, it's your shamanic work, whatever it is, also helps with this. Many environmentalists are saying where we're headed is for a lot of the planet to look like Haiti. Haiti has been so exploited in every way. My heart goes out to Haiti before the earthquakes, all of that. And a lot of their ecosystem right now is rats, cockroaches, and fleas.
Wow.
They can survive on almost anything in any environment. And this is where we're headed. We have to do everything we can to keep up our diversity, our vibrational level, all of this. It's at such a point that we all need to be working in whatever ways we can that are harmonious with us all the time. And that'll help fleas too.
I love that. Thank you so much, Susan. It's been wonderful talking to you on this really important topic. So thank you for sharing your heart with us. Again, Susan has an article she will send you. So go to her website and get on her list and ask her. She will send you an article that talks about all of this. It's really
right. And I'll eventually get it posted and get it to Val. And there's also specials for Val's listeners on the website if you need further help.
Ooh, that's lovely. Specials. Yay. All right. So go to harmoniouspetsandpeople.com and tell her you saw us on the show. You heard about her from me. And you'll get specials. I like specials.
Yes.
All right.
And I just want to let all of you know how much work Val does every week to get all this free information out to everyone. Thank you, Val. Blessings to you. There's so much to
it is a labor of love, I have to say, so so what you can do, our viewers, our listeners, our followers, our wonderful community of animal lovers, is show us a little love, leave feedback, leave us some comments, send us what you thought. We'll improve the show. We're getting better and having a lot more fun as we go. And again, you've been watching an episode of The Real Dr. Dolittle Show. So this is my wonderful guest, Susan Francis. And let's see, next we're going to talk to Tim Link about behavior and communication with animals. They're going to love it. He has a new book coming out. And be sure to get your copy of the Quick Start to Animal Talk course. It's free on my website at animaltalkcoachingclub.com. All right. Well, our mission is to reach and teach 1 million animal lovers around the world this year. And to do that, we need your help. Thanks. Thanks, Susan. Thank you for everything. Love you.
Love.
All right. Until next time. Bye, everybody.